There is something really weird about memory in gaming. Sometimes you remember exactly what to do, other times you keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
Dude, I keep forgetting the same mistakes, man.
But what if there's a secret range that describes this phenomenon? Let's start from the beginning. Initially, the idea came when I was brainstorming some ideas for a video, but then I would occasionally check social media or scroll through shorts. And without a surprise, I would completely forget the idea I had. So then I thought, wait, what if I could find out when exactly forgetting happens? So here's what I did. I decided to create a simple memory test that would generate 3 random words: an adjective, a noun, and a verb. This simulates an idea, and this is what you memorize. And then you take these distraction tests. The distractions are designed to put you under stress so that memory becomes harder to recall. But unfortunately, the distraction tests were not working at all, so I had to make some changes. But after finally getting it to work, there was still a big problem. It was too easy. So I upped the word count to 5 instead. And I scratched the whole adjective, noun, and verb stuff since that kind of overcomplicated things. So now it would generate 5 random words, and it turned out like this. Cleopatra, Everest, Pikachu, Aspirin, Symphony. Cleopatra, Everest, Pikachu... But I still had to measure something to see when exactly the forgetting occurred. I decided to measure the duration of the distractions to see if how long you are distracted for affects how much you forget. So I did a bunch of tests and realized around 30 seconds of distractions was when I started failing to recall. So naturally, I thought the life cycle of thoughts or ideas was 30 seconds long. Except I couldn't have been more wrong, because after doing the same test the next day, the time increased and kept increasing. I adapted to the distractions. Naturally, I was disappointed. The test was now completely invalid and there was nothing I could extract out of it. But this is also when I posted a short about this test and people seemed to want to play it. So I thought, why don't I just turn this into some kind of a game? So I did. I added a bunch of different modes and different difficulty settings to turn it more into a game. And yeah, I kind of got carried away. But then this made me realize something bigger. What about memory in gaming? What if there's a limit to memory by the level of stress, like an intense match, or even how long you are exposed to the information? This realization made me shift my focus. So I went all in with these tests, and let me tell you exactly what I did and exactly what I found. Memorizing words can be a little complicated, so I added numbers instead to simplify the test. I also wanted to fine-tune the test to find the exact ranges of what affects memory, so I added a slider to fine-tune for these 3 variables. Exposure time, which is how long the information is shown to you, stress level, how short of a time you have to complete the distractions or else you fail, delay, which is the duration of the distraction, and number of items, how many numbers I can remember. I also simplified my evaluation to satisfy one simple condition. Was there a trial where I recalled everything correctly? That's it. And through all the testing that I did, here is what I found. Exposure time, which was how long the numbers were shown, had a huge impact on how many numbers you could remember. The most I've gotten was only 6 numbers in 0.1 seconds. 124730, 124730, 124730, 124730, 124730, 124730, right? Yes! Alright. 8 at 0.5 seconds, 10 at 2.5 seconds, and 11 at 5 seconds. 502-409-31086, 502-409-31086, 502-409-93, 502-409-31086, 502-409-31086. Yes! Also, for a fun comparison, I tried doing this test with Pokemon images, but I could only remember 1 or 2 Pokemon from 0.1 seconds. Oh, I saw Paris. That's all I remember. And upwards of 6 Pokemon with 5 seconds. Elam. And then it was Golem. So that's Electrode Golem. Oh! Yes! Delay duration was the next variable I tested, which is how long the distractions were. This one didn't affect recall as much. I remembered 11 numbers with 10 seconds of distraction, 9 numbers in 30 seconds of distraction, 9 numbers in 60 seconds of distraction, and 8 numbers in 120 seconds of distraction. I'm pretty confident to say that the delay duration has a much smaller effect. But here comes the interesting one. Stress level. This was how much time you had to complete each distraction. The shorter the time, the harder the distractions. At 5 seconds per distraction, I had 11 numbers memorized. In 3 seconds per distraction, I had 10 numbers memorized. In 1.5 seconds per distraction, I had 9 numbers memorized. Now, keep in mind, I could have gone shorter to 1 second per distraction, but I couldn't complete a single trial. Now, these were interesting findings from the memory test alone, but I felt like I was leaving a lot of room to increase stress level, so I decided to see if this can be applied in an actual game. So I chose these 2 games, since I wanted to play something short and quick with high intensity, to see if in-game stress caused any memory changes. For Brawlhalla, I played a ranked game to ensure I was fighting someone at my level or better. And here were the results. 583-027-416, 583-027-416, 583. In this match, I completely lost, but I almost memorized 9 numbers with 1 error.
583-027-716.
But in the next match, 904-671-258, 904-671-258.
904-671-258.
I won and I successfully memorized 9 numbers. Both matches were around 3 minutes long, which makes sense according to the memory test since delay doesn't affect memory as much. But when I played Osu, and I made sure to play one of the hardest maps that I can attempt, I was only able to memorize 7 numbers. Keep in mind, this map was 3 minutes and 43 seconds long. This was very interesting, so I decided to do another Osu map that was just as hard but much shorter, a 48-second map. Once again, I could only memorize 7 numbers. Now, what seems to be the trend from these tests is that exposure time had the biggest impact on memory, with stress level coming in second. But I was still curious about combining exposure time and stress level, so I also did a memory trial of 0.1 second exposure time with 1.5 seconds per task. This was high stress, short exposure, and as you might have guessed, I could only memorize 4 numbers.
2942. Oops. Yes.
Now, what does this all mean? Here is my big guess. Your memory in gaming is capped by the exposure time and how stressful or how difficult the game is. This might be why, especially in games like Geometry Dash, you forget your mistake over and over again because it combines high stress with a very short exposure time. And that's kind of where I leave it off. Anyways, if you want to play the memory test yourself, I will leave a link in the description. I'm also building a Discord server where I post tests like these and discuss new ideas, so feel free to join that as well.